Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Democracy 3. My name, of course, is Over the Potato. We are continuing today as an independent Scotland. And I can say, with authority, it's going fairly well. I mean, look at our cash reserves. Holy hellballs. They are looking pretty darn good. Obviously, we've not still got that same amount of cash that we used to have coming in. It was pretty nice for those 4 turns. That was really very, very nice to get a lot of cash. But you know what? Now we're just sort of tweaking the formula towards perfection. Our GDP is so damn high. The graph cannot get any higher. It is really, really great to see. The couple of problems that we have, in all honesty, are probably never going to clear up. This rare earth crisis is probably never going to clear up, unfortunately. I mean, the year is just a never-ending progression. Technology is ever increasing. It's not going to slow down. So that's a thing, I guess. And then, of course, we have foreign relations, which is already maxed out. So unfortunately, it can't get any bigger and better. So I think, friends, that rare earth crisis, it's around to stay. It's around to stay. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is around to stay. What else can we do to sort of tweak this formula and make our success ultimate? Well, the fact that middle-income people are not very happy with us, this sort of disturbs me a little bit. Obviously, there is income tax, which we could probably get rid of a fair amount. But at the same time, we like money. Yes, we like money. And I have no idea, in all honesty, why the game is so darn strict about hating middle-income people. Because I just don't really understand why. I mean, internet currency adoption is something that we could do, or something that we could go towards. I mean, possibly. Possibly. This would increase our income tax and corporation tax, potentially. So that's something to think about. It's not an objective that we usually actively pursue, but hey-ho, it's something that we could do. So, oil drilling subsidies, something that we've implemented over the last couple of turns, and this is massively, well, I say massively, it's sort of bumped up oil supply a little bit. The oil price shock is still ongoing, unfortunately, and the year means that the growth of the oil market is somewhat non-existent, but the price of oil is somewhat low, which is kind of nice. Now, I'm just thinking, at the moment, we sort of have 86 million or so coming in from income tax. If we cancel oil drilling subsidies, which is currently accounting for 17.2% of our GDP. Now, bear in mind that in Scotland, it's probably highly likely that an independent Scotland would have oil drilling subsidies, because in a climate where drilling for oil and processing oil into petrol and gasoline and high octane fuels and all of that nonsense, that's not entirely viable. So the government probably will need to end up subsidizing an oil community, so to speak. So I think we can actually cancel this. Now, the reason that I say that we can cancel this is after you have sort of talked about the short term of Scotland being an independent country, and you start talking about the long term, I don't think it's viable in the long term to sustain an oil industry which will eventually become unprofitable. And I know the Scottish government is fairly socialist, fairly left-wing, and for that reason they would probably end up funding it for a long time, but I don't think it's viable that they would continue to fund it forever. But anyway, let us try and, you know what, could we just cancel this policy? I think we should just cancel this policy. I think we should absolutely just cancel it. And let's try and make up the extra 20 billion in perhaps taxes of some sort. I mean, a graduate tax, an internet tax. There we go. That's good. We'll make 5 billion from an internet tax. How about that? 5 billion from an internet tax. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. We're still going to be running a little bit of a deficit. We're going to try and make that back in tax somehow. Religious institutions. No, an automation tax is how we're going to get the bulk of that money back. Industrial automation and technology are both going to be slowing down, which is not actually the worst thing in the world. It might actually help resolve our rare earth crisis. Of course, it will hurt the capitalists' opinion of us, which is never a good idea. But I think it's actually kind of cool. And fingers crossed we won't be running a huge deficit. We are going to allow same-sex marriage because that is indeed what Scotland has voted on. The full employment. Have you seen long queues of jobless citizens queuing for work? Neither have I, nor will I. In this land of full employment, we owe it all to you and your work. Fantastic. Now, unfortunately, we've got a little bit of a flash crash going on, which next turn means that our GDP is going to be pretty much atrocious, I think. Our currency strength, GDP, and wealthy income all go down. That is a shame. But you know what? Zero unemployment. Full unemployment is immensely impressive, and it's something that we can be very proud of. Socialists. Why do socialists not like us? Did I do something bad? I mean, equality is sort of going away. A sales tax? This is taking us 39 billion. We don't want to cancel this. I mean, I don't really want to cancel it, I'm afraid. I mean, I just cancelled oil subsidies. Like, socialists must fucking love the fact that I just cancelled oil subsidies. Like, why are you getting sad with me? Like, is anybody interested in killing us? Not at the moment. I just don't understand. I mean, like, oil subsidies, why would you not be happy with that? I mean, oil demand is going to start to go up because we just completely shot the supply. Like, the supply is just going to go down and down and down. So that's a bit worrisome. But hey ho, you know what? You can't always deal with every single problem in the world. Middle income people eventually look like they are going to start liking us. The flat income tax is obviously still a major problem. And you know what? Do we even want the flat income tax to be a thing? You know, perhaps what we should do actually is perhaps we should just cancel this policy, right? And then reintroduce income tax. And I know it's a bit daft how I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but at the same time, I think it's probably worthwhile to do, because income tax seems to be less hated than other people. Also, our economy managed to recover very strongly indeed. Unemployment did take a fairly large increase there, unfortunately. How's our technology doing? Our technology should be going down fairly slowly. Now, this might actually help the rare earth metal mining sort of side of things. So, yeah, exactly. We might actually start to see a rare earth crisis go back down, which will in turn lead to a little boost in GDP. Should we eventually end this crisis? Fingers crossed, anyway, that's what we're going to do. Anyway, quickly, let us reintroduce income tax, because it's actually something that we need to do, unfortunately. And 82 million is where it probably should be. Now, this theoretically should help with equality. It means that equality should be on top levels, on absolutely top levels, providing a little bit of a debuff to crime as well. That's very nice. Flat income tax is gone. Sales tax, something that we get 39 million for. Now, what is the best way to go about doing this? Is there... You know what? We could probably just collect. An extra 30 billion. An extra 30... I don't know. I really don't want to upset middle income people, because they're the easiest to upset, if that makes sense. We are going to propose the Freedom of Information Act. Let's go to the next turn, see what we've got. Fingers crossed it's going to be fairly good. We're still running a budget deficit of 17 billion, but, you know, in fairness, we've got such large reserves of cash that it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Also, once again, we are just about capping out on our GDP, which is kind of nice. It's not something that I can really complain about. Actually, fairly chuffed about it. Middle income people are back to hating us, unfortunately. They just intensely dislike this whole income tax thing. You know what? I can't say I blame them. Although they seem to be the people that are shafted hardest by this income tax. And I don't really know why. What about food price? Food price is holding fairly steady, actually, to be honest. International trade is at an all-time low, and our currency strength is very, very high. Well, we need to try and take away our currency strength. So how do we do that? Good question. I think we need to readjust the money supply. Release the Kraken. Gives us another 20% GDP. Gives us... what do we want to do, right? I mean, I'm not an economist, and I'm finding it difficult to sort of get my head around this, right? But let's try and think this through. So, the currency strength is one way that we can impact international relations. Okay? We want to influence foreign trade. We absolutely want to do that. We want to make sure that our currency strength goes down. But at the same time, we don't want to debuff international trade. You know what? I think this is probably the best way to go about doing things, because then this will lower our currency strength, which will make our product more attractive overseas. Fingers crossed, anyway. We are going to keep the planning law. I think that's probably what the Scottish government would actually do. Unemployment, once again, is going back down to 0. Ministerial scandal. I don't care. I don't really care, guys. Just sort it out amongst yourselves. Whatever. Alright. There is a way that we can influence stuff with the money supply. I think we're going to try and take away inflation. So it's going to provide a 5% reduction to GDP. Okay? Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Fingers crossed that it actually does. Wages is not really what we want to look at, but hey ho. Money supply has just been changed. We should see inflation go down, right? And when inflation goes down, that should mean that that poor people, middle earnings people, and high earnings people are all very, very happy with us. Also, I think if inflation goes down, then that should mean a little boost to our currency strength. Fingers crossed. I don't really know. We'll have to wait and see what the result of that is. But definitely, we're starting down a brave and experimental path. And it looks like our GDP can actually withstand... Oh, did the rare earth crisis finish? Oh my god, the rare earth crisis has finished. That is fantastic news. Really very, very happy with that. We're running a small budget deficit. You know what? I've almost completely stopped caring about money, and I'm just focusing on the mechanics now and how we make this cool. I think passing a law of positive discrimination is probably something that that a Scottish independent government would do. Now, how are we doing? Money supply takes 2 turns to take effect, so next turn is going to be the one that actually makes a difference. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, and apparently it's election time as well. Well, holy shit. Wow. Wow, 52,000 people voted for the opposition. That is ridiculous. That is less than a standard constituency. Darwin's legacy. Religion has been all but wiped from our country, leaving a society that believes in science, technology, and evidence rather than faith in religious text. Very, very happy with that. A technological advantage is apparently something that we've developed. Wow, look at that. So the rare earth crisis happens, no technological advantage. The rare earth crisis ends, and blam, straight up to a technological advantage again. Even though our technology isn't super darned high, surprisingly, because we've been cutting back a little bit on it. Got a minor budget deficit of 135 billion, not very important in the slightest. Now, what were we going to pursue? We were going to check to see if inflation was actually making a little bit of a difference to this. I don't know why. I don't know why the money supply hasn't been introduced yet. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why. We used to be getting 8.5 billion, 1.85 billion, not 8.5 billion. That's a bit ridiculous. But now we're not really. What else can we really do? Like, what else can we actually do? I feel a basic income guarantee is exactly what is in order. So, socialist, middle income, poor, socialism, high earnings. Oh, a 33% addition to socialism. That's quite impressive. And capitalists are really not going to like us. Let's half fund it, okay? Let's half fund it because I really don't think the capitalists are going to be hugely fond of us. Although the only reason that capitalists really like us is because GDP is so darned high. You know what? I can dig that. I can absolutely dig that. Is there anything that super upsets the capitalists? I mean, there's income tax, which we could probably reduce, and basic income guarantee looks like it's really going to piss them off. But, you know what, we're going to do it nonetheless. Import tariffs, not something we're really fond of. Rent controls, that's also something that capitalists are really not going to like. But you know what, we don't really have any need for rent controls. I feel the basic income guarantee, in theory, would do a similar sort of thing. Tax shelters. Tax shelters. Now, tax shelters are adored by capitalists, as you can probably imagine. Foreign investor tax breaks. Helps encourage investment from overseas. What about we try introducing this? Wow, okay, so this just provides a straight boost to our GDP, and patriots just don't like it. You know what, this is actually completely unnecessary, but I guess we're going to keep it around anyway. Patriots will start to hate us a little bit, but hey ho, it doesn't really matter. Liberals also seem to be really fucking liking us right now. So obviously, over the course of the next couple of turns, we really should see the membership of socialists actually start to raise up. So, small business grants, something that capitalists fucking love, it's going to get cancelled next turn. So that hopefully, we're going to ban fox hunting. Why not? Seems like something our government would do. Chemical plant explosion, that's really very, very annoying, but hey ho. There's a huge budget deficit. Also very, very worrying. Capitalists are not going to like us. Their happiness is going to start tumbling very, very shortly. We also need to make sure that we cancel... What were we going to cancel? I really cannot remember for shit what we were going to cancel. It was something the capitalists liked. Small business grants, that's what it was. We're going to cancel this policy. Capitalists are going to like us a little bit less, and GDP is probably going to be going down. And private pensions... Are private pensions liked by capitalists? They probably are. Who doesn't really matter, whatever. But yeah, capitalists next turn are really not going to like us because we got rid of that small business grants thing. And basically what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to eliminate all of the sources of their membership, right? So the only thing that they've got in their favor are enterprise investments and small business grants. Now, both of which I plan on cutting. I plan on just getting rid of because it decreases socialism. Except we're actually going to cut this back by a bit, and then we'll cut it back a little bit more. Chemical plant explosions developed. Well, hopefully CPMDC and ENDRA are both already on that. They should be dealing with that as soon as possible. GDP took a little bit of a hit, probably because of the chemical plant explosion, also because of the enterprise investment scheme cutting, and the small business grants demolishing. So not great, but once again, we've got the cash to support these radical decisions, and we shall continue to press on and do just that. Capitalists, once again, not really liking us, but their memberships should start to decrease once these small business grants just sort of peters away into unimportance. And as you can see, very, very slightly, the membership of socialists increase. Now, if we can get our population to a socialist utopia, so to speak, then I would be very, very impressed, to say the least. Yeah, I would definitely be very, very happy to see that happen. It's going to take 20 turns for this actually to be implemented as well, so it's going to be 20 turns before capitalists are fucking raging at us. Absolutely raging at us. But hey ho, we can wait. We can wait for that. You know, it's not something that we're super needing to worry about right at this very moment of time. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been this episode of Democracy 3. My name, of course, has been Old Potato. Tune in next time for some more Democracy 3 as an independent Scotland. But until then, bye.